Hello there and welcome to this year's birthday edition Get Ready With Me. I'm going to try to do this mostly uncut, except when I stop to go fix my hair. I am filming a hair video, so I'll link that up here when that goes live and in the description box down below. But I celebrated my 49th birthday a little over a week ago, and Gracie celebrated her 2-year birthday a week before mine. So I'll bring her in here at the end, but I just thought it would be fun to have a little birthday party together, and what more fun could there be than to just try out some new makeup. So I've got some new makeup sent to me in PR, some stuff I've purchased, a birthday gift from my dear friend Erin that I've not even tried. So I just thought I would invite all of my friends along and we'll just have fun putting on some makeup. Now I'm going to start off. This is one of the new MAC lip glosses. They redid the packaging and they came out with some kind of, well, this is like a cream color. And I feel like the scent on this is even better than their old lip gloss, like just a little more true vanilla smell. But I thought, hey, let's put this on just to prep my lips. And this is the shade Snobbish. And I feel like this one, so it says non-sticky gloss. So this is definitely a different formulation than their previous lip gloss. I feel like lip gloss has been one of my favorites for years, but that one has a little more tack. This one is definitely thinner, but feels really good. All right, already on my eyes, I have the Ulta Beauty Matte Veil Eyeshadow Primer. I already put that on. It's had time to sink in. I do already have my skincare on. I will talk about maybe a couple of those things, but if I don't mention everything, check down below. I'll have it listed there for you. I'm also rocking my instant one-day tan today because my sunless tanner was wearing off and I thought, you know, I need a nice smooth bronze glow. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave it down below. I'll also link my video that I did talking about instant tans. All right, let's get to putting on some makeup. So this eyeshadow palette is from Morphe, and ooh, I threw the outer packaging away. So I am not sure. Let's see, what is this one? I don't know exactly what the color. Oh, here we go. It's right there. Forbidden Honey. That's what I am using. And look how pretty this is. Pinks, you know me. I love my pinks. I'm really interested in this one. I haven't even swatched this palette yet. Ooh, this is supposed to be one of their kind of, you can use it wet or dry, but kind of a chrome type of eyeshadow. That's so pretty. And then we have a couple of just traditional shimmers in here. And then we also have quite a few mattes, but there is no matte brow bone highlight shade. So I'm going to go into another brand new palette. This is from Sigma and Angela Bright. And this collaboration, look how beautiful those colors are. I mean, a very colorful palette, but it does have one of the shades that I desperately need. So let's just dip into this shade from here. I think this will be the only one. Well, I might dip into this one. I have used this palette a couple of times and it's really nice and versatile. I also have the new Sigma brush set that is being released with this palette. This palette might not be new to Sigma, it's new to me, but this brush set was just released and these are also in collaboration with Angela Bright. So these are much smaller versions of some of their regular brushes that they have in their collection. So I haven't used these yet. We'll see if we can work some of those in. All right, let's go to this palette. And I am feeling, so this top, by the way, was also given to me by Erin. It's so cute. I'll show you more of it at the end, but it's kind of a warm pink. So I feel like these two combined are going to be a perfect crease shade for me. And let's use this Sigma, ooh, do they have numbers? I don't know. Oh, AB2. And this is supposed to be a, what, fluffy blending. So that should be kind of what we need. And Morphe, actually, they just came out with some new 12 pan palettes and 6 pan palettes. And I guess Morphe in general, they have been bought out or they're reorganizing something, but they are really coming out with a lot of new products, and I do have one of their new bronzer sticks, which I will bring in later. But I've been hearing really good things about a lot of these new releases, and I don't think this is a brand new palette, but my friend Erin is always at a loss trying to find something that I don't already own, and every year she comes through, she's able to find something that I've not already purchased. That's a pretty combo. I'm thinking fresh, kind of girly, nothing too dramatic, but you know, you just have some fun playing and we see where we go. Okay, I'm gonna dip into, let's just see how bright this is. And since I'm using a fluffy brush, it's not going to pick up a whole lot. Let's go down to this AB3, and this is a flatter brush. We can pack on a little bit. You know, actually looking up close, it looks like there's a tiny little bit of sparkle, but it's one of those that doesn't really translate onto the eyes. So I'm gonna pack a little bit of that, and then let's go into this warm shade. So I'm gonna keep it a little bit of a warmer pink. Ooh, that's a pretty combo. Ooh, I love that. Okay, I know some of you shy away from pink eyeshadows because you're afraid you're going to look sick. And I think one of the keys is the tone of pink and then also the placement. So if you take a color like this and you put it like in your inner corner and all around the rim of your eye, probably going to look like you're tired or sick. But if you make sure that you rim the eye with kind of more of a neutral color, I think that really helps. So that's what our goal is going to be for today. Let's just see what we can do here. Ooh, I really like that. That combination is such a pretty shade. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then on the lid, I really would like to try this shade right here. I might need to bring in a little bit of this, but let's just try this by itself. And then we'll see if we have to wet our brush. I might need to wet the brush. We'll see. Yeah, that's coming off pretty sheer. So we'll apply this. And then let me bring in a flat brush and some setting spray. I always just like to generally use my Maybelline, what is this even called? Lasting Fix. It's been a while. My brain is a little older. I don't know what's going on. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of this and then I might go back and tap in a little bit of the pink shade next to it. But let's do both sides of the brush. Let's spritz our brush here. And then let's see if this makes a difference. It's still really soft, but that definitely brings out more gold in that shade. Pretty. It did definitely, I think, smooth it out. And then let's go back and now let's add just a touch. I'm curious what this will look like over the top of that. Bring a little pink, little pink and gold. Got a little trio chrome kind of going here. That's fun. Okay. And then on the lash line, I pulled out a couple of eyeliners. I wasn't quite sure where I was gonna land with this eyeshadow look because we do have some dark browns in here which do work well with these tones. So let's go to the lower lash line first. I know I want to use this. This is the Mushroom eyeliner from Urban Decay. And this is where I was talking that you can actually kind of help cool down the look or neutralize the look. And I love this shade because it's kind of, it's gray, but it's not blue gray. It has a little bit of warmth in there. And I want to use a navy blue mascara on my lower lashes. It is a beautiful one. I've used it a couple times and it's so much fun. So kind of want to do that because my top has some navy in it. I was thinking of bringing in purple with the pink, but since my top has navy, I thought, oh, let's use that. Now, you know, maybe we'll just, was gonna bring in a different color for the upper lash line. Well, let's just stay with that one for the moment, shall we? And we'll blend this out. I showed this kind of technique in a recent video where I was using multi-use products, and I have just really been enjoying kind of placing the liner there and then going in with a thin liner brush like this one. This is from Busy Beauty number 918, and just kind of pulling that liner out. Had a little bit of eyeshadow, I think, left on that brush. It's okay. And then I will probably go back and top that with a little bit of shadow as well. But let's just, this is looking a little crazy, but hang with me here. I know most of you do. You guys, when I put up an uncut video, I know so many of you are just troopers. You follow along with the process. And I know I make some of you a little scared sometimes. About halfway through, you're like, I don't know where she's going. And this is probably going to be one of those as well. But let's just wing that gray out, and then we'll top it. We'll just go in to our eyeshadow palette, and let's just add a little bit of this dark brown here. We're going to place this right on top of that gray shadow and just kind of work it into the lashes. And the purpose of adding that liner first is just to give this shadow something to stick to. And it can also help kind of tone, give, you know, a different tone to the eyeshadow. So I actually like that combo. Might deepen out the outer corner just a little bit, but let's finish this other eye. So for birthday celebration, who of you remember last year where I went, where I think I go almost every year for my birthday? You can put it in the comments if you know right now. Cheesecake Factory, yes. I make my husband take me there almost every year. He doesn't mind it. I mean, you know, but it's always just seems to be busy. And for whatever reason, this year, well, I know why, because my birthday was on a Friday and graduations were happening. And so we could tell there were several people celebrating graduations. And so there were lots of large parties, and we waited for our food for over an hour. And I was already starving by the time we got to the restaurant. I'm going to do a combo of those and then add just a little bit of that dark brown just to kind of soften everything and make it all blend together. So, but it was worth the wait. We had good food and cheesecake this year of choice. I went to an old standby, the Adams Peanut Butter Cup Fudge Ripple. It's so good. Another one though that I have been loving is the salted caramel, and I'm not typically a salted caramel kind of girl, but that cheesecake is so good, and it's not quite as rich as the Adams peanut butter one, but I was just feeling in the mood for some peanut butter apparently this year. All right, we're gonna leave the eyes there for now. I think the inner corner highlight is what we need to bring the rest of it together. And now we really need some under eye concealer and all of that. Okay, let's clean up under the eye. And I was going to use, there's a new, well, it's a trick that Nikki LaRose uses, and I saw another makeup artist use, and it's where they use an essence under the eyes instead of a heavy hydrating product. So you know I love to use the almond oil, and I think I have a greasy hair maybe in my eyelashes, but I thought let's try this one. This is the Haru Haru Wonder Black Rice Hyaluronic Toner, the first essence for sensitive skin, and I had this in my collection. I think I got it free when I purchased their sunscreen or something. I don't know. But I was just cleaning out some things yesterday, came across this, and I thought, you know, let's just try this under the eyes. We'll try it to clean up. Let's see if this helps clean up the eyeshadow fallout. I know some of you have wondered why I use the almond oil under the eyes, and it is because I have really dry under eyes. I gotta tell you, I don't feel like this is adding hardly any hydration. And you know, there's tips and tricks that I share that might not work for you. And I try a lot of tips and tricks that work for a lot of other makeup artists that just don't work for me, and that's okay. So I think the tip here is you can try things out, and if they don't work for you, it's okay. It doesn't mean it's a bad tip, but I can tell, ooh, my under eyes, like they're already like dry. All right, so I'm just going to tap on a little bit of almond oil, and I just know I need that personally. And I do have a couple of new concealers today, so I want to make sure I don't do anything too different, because if the performance is lacking, then I might blame the concealer, and it might be the prep. All right, before we get to concealer, let's go to foundation. This is going to take me a second because I'm going to use the Terracotta Le Tint by Guerlain. This is their Healthy Glow Natural Perfection Foundation. I've had this for a couple of months. I have the shade 2W, and I really like this. It's really pretty. And I just thought, you know, it's birthday makeup. I am going to wear something that just makes me feel a little extra special. It's beautiful packaging, but it really is a nice formula. Now the color though, in order to get it to match my sunless tan or my instant tan I've got going on, I'm gonna mix in some of these Bronze and Protect drops from CL. This is SPF 50 Bronzing Concentrate. And you're supposed to be able to mix this in with foundation, moisturizer, whatever. And I've used these just, I think once on their own. So I've never actually mixed this in with foundation, let alone this foundation. So here is what the shade looks like that I was sent. They sent me a couple of products. This is Bronze 02. And it is a little sheer, but there does seem to be a good amount of color also. So I'm just gonna mix this on my little pan here. And if I don't get it quite dark enough, it's okay, because of course I have bronzing powders and creams and all that we can use on top of foundation. But I just thought I would try mixing a little bit of this together and see where we go. I'm gonna go in with the Buzzy Beauty 902 brush, and a little trick that I've been doing also, oh, I forgot, I was gonna use a primer today. Oh well, we're gonna just save that for another day. So I'm going to dot this around, and then I'm gonna take my brush with a little bit of product, warm that up in my hands, push it into the bristles of the brush, and then go onto my face. And I know some people actually put their foundation like into their hand and apply from there first. You know, they actually pump the foundation in their hand or on the back of your hand and warm it up that way. I use so much more product when I do that. And when you're using a foundation like this one especially, I don't want to waste that much product. So when you do that, the foundation does kind of warm up and it gets into the bristles of the brush, but it also soaks into your hands. So if you want to try a kind of a combination of those two tricks, I think this is one way to do it. And it does kind of help sheer out the foundation a little bit. This is a very good high coverage foundation, but it does have that just tiny little bit of glow. I don't find it to be super shiny on my combination skin, and it does wear very well. So I have just really enjoyed it. It is highly fragranced though, so just be aware of that if you are sensitive to fragranced products. This would be one you probably need to skip. So, all right, I'm gonna work that in. It does give quite a lot of glow to the skin. And then I'll go back and just tap in a little extra coverage. So even though I just turned 49, still have a pimple. Decided to appear yesterday. I'm like, really? I mean, am I not going to ever outgrow pimples and acne? Thankfully, my skin is nowhere near what it used to be, but I struggled with horrible acne. And now, for the most part, I'm just fighting wrinkles and enlarged pores. So, all right, let's blend that in. Let's let this sit. Now, I am planning a new products from the drugstore video. In fact, when I was pulling out products for this video, I was trying to decide if I was going to show some of those. And I thought, you know what? Let's save those for a dedicated video because I have probably almost a full face, including this new crazy L'Oreal foundation slash concealer product. So stay tuned. But for today, let's see, for concealer, I do still have three other concealers, two that I purchased, the Estee Lauder and Tula. One of you told me to try the Tula concealer, and then Tower 28 sent me their concealer. I'm curious about this one. The Estee Lauder Double Wear, I think, is a little bit too light for me for today. What shade do I have in this one? This one is 8.0 LBC with Tower 28. So, oh, I've not even swatched this. Ooh, let's try this one today. Why not? I like the tone. Ooh, and it feels really good on the skin. Where, you know, I feel like I've had dry under eyes for years. So I've never been one that could just ignore my under eyes as far as using eye cream and all of that. But I feel like in the last 6 months or so, they've gone to another level. Dryness, a few more lines, and we will have a little fun conversation in a moment just about all of that. Let's see, what brush do I want to try with this? I'm looking through, oh, here we go. This one's not too bad. This is the A506 from BK Beauty. And let's just see what kind of coverage. Now, what does it say this is supposed to be? This is their serum corrector or serum concealer. And what does it say? It just says the weightless serum concealer has the power to visibly cover dark circles, hyperpigmentation. She always thinks somebody's coming. So I was saying, has the power to cover dark circles, hyperpigmentation, and redness. Designed for sensitive skin, this non-irritating formula helps hydrate and smooth textured skin, medium buildable coverage with a natural finish. So I'm getting to that point where I don't mind medium coverage under the eyes if it stays all day. And if it's enough to at least counteract the darkness. Actually, that's really nice. That's a good, wow, the shade match is spot on. So I don't like to go too light under the eyes. That was a thing at one point, and I joined in on that trend. And now I almost like to go the exact shade of my foundation because I feel like it helps cover the darkness and makes puffiness under the eyes less visible. Let's see. All right, let's tap in the line of where that meets the foundation. All right, we're gonna let everything just marinate on the skin there for a few minutes. And let's go to bronzer. Now, I do have powder bronzer, but I wanted to bring in this new Morphe contour bronzing stick. What is this called? Sudden Heat. And I have the shade Ignite. I purchased this from Ulta. That word just left my brain for a moment as I was looking for my brush. All right, let's use the BK Beauty. Actually, you know what? Let's use this angled brush. I'd rather use this today. This is the Buzzy Beauty 905. And because that foundation is a little still kind of glowy and still setting on the skin, I am going to kind of go from the top of the bullet instead of going directly on the skin. And I do have the bronzing stick from CL, which I want to also test out, and their concealer, or concealer. They do have a concealer, but I have their tinted sunscreen or tinted moisturizer. I'm not sure what it's called, but I'll be trying those. I feel like all summer I have enough content to have something related to SPF. So if you're looking for some new SPF products, stay tuned. All right. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that. Okay. And I have used this, I think, twice before, but I've not applied it quite like this. And it's really pretty. So I would say this is definitely more of a bronzer type of shade for the most part on my skin. It's showing up a little pink with my instant bronze that I got going on, but that's a very nice, very pretty product. All right, we will add a little more color with our powder bronzer later. But next I want to go in, I have a couple of new blushes. Sochi just came out with blurring blushes, and I know I told you, I've talked about this in a couple of videos. I am just really into the whole idea of blurry blushes, blurry cheeks, blurred skin. So they came out with 4 shades in this formula, and now it will just be a matter of choosing which one I should wear today. So let's see, this one is going to be a little too dark. So they've got a very good range of depth of color. And this, ooh, that one's so pretty. That's a berry shade. Let's see here. I think, yeah, that one's got a little too much red for me today. Let's see. And this is the dark one. Also, I mean, look how pretty that is though. Like a beautiful kind of reddish bronze look. And then we've got these two. So this one is, what is this one? Rosy, what is it? My eyes are like, why? I can't focus today. What's happening? Okay, this is Speakeasy, and this is, oh, Rosy Rest. I think sometimes it's like, is that what I'm really reading? Ooh, okay, the combination of those two. Kind of still thinking that this one might be the one, because I do have another powder blush, so I don't want to get too crazy with this. So let's try this. And they did send me a brush. It's kind of small. It is nice and soft. Okay, we'll try this. We'll try their brush. Now this product, it does, like, it starts looking a little mushy. So there's nothing wrong with it, but it's a kind of cream to powder. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, let's see what kind of blurring effect it has on the cheeks. I think I see it. Do you see it? I feel like right here, I have more pores as we go in closer to the nose, but I took it a little bit further on. Ooh, I really like that. Okay, and that color. So again, this is Rosy Rest. Really like this color. Ooh, that's a lot of pink, but don't forget, we're gonna add some powder and a little more bronzer, so you know we can tone it down. But I really like that color. Ooh, that's pretty. Gonna go for baby cheeks today. Nearly 50-year-old baby here, baby cheeks, right? All right, I'm gonna just take my bronzer brush over around the edge. Okay, let's add some powder. I pulled out like 4 because I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do today. Let's go in. Let's use the Nakia Joy Velvet Finishing Powder. I love how this smells. I know that sounds crazy, but it smells, she does have an unscented version now, but it smells like vanilla cookies, vanilla Oreos specifically. And it is a really good loose setting powder. She does have it in pressed form now too. I own those as well. But I feel like right here through the T-zone, I need some heavy duty blurring. Our weather is starting to heat up here, so summer is coming. I always feel around my birthday time, I'm starting to go, oh no, summer's coming. But this year we've been having a lot of what they call June gloom or May gray, June gloom, where it is foggy and really cool in the mornings, and then the clouds lift and the sun comes out. So to me, that's the best of both worlds. All right, I kind of avoided the top part of my cheeks with that. Under the eyes, ooh, I really want to go with something light. Let's see here. I do have creases, which is okay for now. We're gonna just work those out with my brush. And then, ooh, I don't know that that made it look any better. Let's just press in with my finger. Ooh, okay. And got some creasing over here. This concealer and these others came just at the perfect time when I am getting ready to put together my top 5 concealers. Let's see here, what do I want? I feel like, let's try, oh goodness. I pulled out the Tarte Creaseless powder recently. I've been testing this again as well. And I'm going to use this dual-ended brush from Dalton. This is the filtering powder. Ooh, I should use the pink powder. Where is the pink powder? They have a new pressed pink powder. Should we use that? You know what? I don't need any more brightening under the eyes today, so we'll use this for now. But the new Dalton pressed pink powder, it's so pretty. Okay. But I think I need to not go any brighter under the eyes. Ooh, that helped a lot. Okay. So sometimes the pink powders can just lighten things too much, and then the under eyes look a little crazy. Okay. Trying not to add too much powder there. All right. Okay, we are powdered. Let's add just a little more bronzer and contour. Now I'm pulling out an old favorite that I still use and love. I have 2 shades of the Gucci bronzer. My normal on the tops of the cheeks is number 3. And this is obviously much warmer, but I use the shade number 2 sometimes during the summer just for a nice cool contour. So let's do a little of that, because I always feel like, you know, after you've had some birthday meals, and I have a couple more coming up, I always feel like I could use just a little more slimming on the cheeks. And this formula, it's not a flat matte, but it also doesn't have any shimmer. So, and this shade, oh, I forgot how beautiful this is. It's too dark for me in the winter time to use as a contour, but in the summer, it's a good shade. And I really do still need a little more color on my cheeks with some bronzing. So we're gonna take care of that in a moment with shade number 3. Let's add a little bit of nose contour, just a tiny bit here. And using the N16, yes, N16, Nikila Rose and BK Beauty. And we'll work a little bit of that into the crease of the eye. Okay, all right. That's good for now. Okay, now let's go to the shade number 3 and BK Beauty 103 brush. And let's now just use this to bring a little more color. Help my face match a little more with my neck. Now, it's hard because I am using a ring light, so it does kind of illuminate my face a little bit more. So we'll see when I go into the bathroom to fix my hair. It'll be the telltale sign if I got enough color on the rest of my face or not. All right, I'm just gonna kind of blend a little bit more of this bronzer. There we go. Okay, inner corner of the eyes. Let's go back to the Sigma palette, and I'm gonna add a little bit of this shade right here It's really pretty, very smoothing. And yep, that's exactly what we need. So this is the other trick to pink on the eyes. Make sure you have a nice bright inner corner, and that will help you not look tired and kind of help just balance out the look there. Keep that pink out of the inner corner. I've seen some pretty dramatic looks at times with pink on the inner corner, and I'm like, ooh, that is very editorial, something for a magazine. Okay, for brows, I am back to my Ravi Beauty Effortless or Everyday, what is it called? Everyday Brow Pencil. Now, I am testing out the shade Light Brown, and this is actually working well for me. So if you're somebody who highlights your hair, or maybe you've gone natural gray or white, you know, sometimes in the process of that, you kind of have to try different shades of brow pencils, and sometimes multiple shades and tones will work. This is a really pretty color. It's just maybe slightly warmer than taupe. I went through a whole taupe one already, so I thought, okay, let me try out the light brown, see if we can get away with this for a while. And I do love this pencil though. It's so good. So we'll fill in the brows. Yeah, as I was talking about earlier about the whole aging and wrinkles and all of that, and I'm seeing kind of a fresh batch of influencers going to get their, you know, Botox or fillers. And I know sometimes I have questions about people when they turn a new age or they're getting close to 50 or whatever. I'm always curious what their thoughts are, and then also their experience with Botox or fillers. So I thought it'd be an interesting topic of conversation here. I'll dig into it a little bit more in an upcoming video because I have been testing out a bunch of new skincare. So it's been a while since I've done a skincare routine video, and I feel like that will be a good one to do. But, you know, I have nothing, I have nothing against anybody who chooses to do Botox or fillers. I think everybody just needs to do, you know, what they feel best doing. I know my cousin started doing it years ago solely. She had, we call them my maiden name, our last name, they're the wrinkles, you know, the forehead wrinkles, the lines. And so she started doing it for that and for the 11s. And as a result, she started having a lot less headaches because she was a migraine sufferer. And so that was kind of when they were just discovering that benefit. So I know some people actually get Botox for headaches, and then obviously you've got the benefit of helping with wrinkles. But I have never done any Botox or fillers anywhere. So I don't at this point plan to ever do that. I'll never say never, but at this point, I feel like I'm going to age gracefully. Hopefully it ends up being gracefully. But I do, you know, think that sometimes when I'm watching somebody go get Botox, but they're also doing all of these steps for skincare and red light therapy and all of that, which those are beneficial. But I think sometimes as a viewer, we watch and we see all of those steps of a skincare routine and we think, oh, that's how they got that skin. That's why they don't have wrinkles. That's why they don't have, you know, any sagginess under the eyes or enlarged pores. And if you know anything about, you know, Botox and fillers, you know, even if they haven't done it in recent years, you know, maybe it was 5 years ago or whatever, that still froze their face for 5 years so that they didn't have to have, you know, the expressions, the smile lines, the wrinkles on the forehead. So it does change how their skin ages later on, even after they've stopped doing it. So I think sometimes it's just helpful to know when you're watching someone, if they're talking about skincare devices, all this stuff, it's helpful to know if they've ever done Botox, if they do Botox. And it's not to say that those skincare products don't work, but just it does, I think, help give insight into how good their skin looks, because Botox and fillers do make a difference over time. And I think also the big thing is genetics. You know, we all have different genes, and I know my mom was always hoping that she wouldn't get the wrinkles that her mom got. And my grandma's side of the family, oh my goodness, they had very, very, very wrinkly skin. And then on my dad's side, my grandma, I didn't feel like she had hardly any, my dad's mom, but she had very oily skin. So I'm like, oh, please, I think I've got a combination of the two. So I'm hoping that my oily skin is really going to help me out here. So anyway, that was a long conversation about Botox and fillers. And yeah, I've never done it. Don't ever plan to. But I do feel like that helps me really know if a skincare product is really doing something transformative. And there are some really transformative skincare products. And one of them that I am testing out right now, I could not believe it after the first time that I used it. I actually have been using it now for about a week. And it's called the Wrinkle Pen, and it doesn't, here it is right here, it doesn't have the brand name on the outside of the packaging, just very simple packaging. It's a doe foot applicator, and I've used wrinkle filler products before, and this is not like those. This does not have any dimethicone in it, so it's not like just spackling the wrinkles. If you know, you know. It's doing something. And my 11s were getting so pronounced, and I was just like, oh, and I started using that again. It's only been a week, but I'm already seeing some amazing results. So I'll keep you posted on that. And I've also just really been loving how my skin feels with the Merit Skin Duo. So again, watch for my upcoming skincare video. And there's going to be quite a few things because I've just recently received quite a few skincare products, and it's impossible to really give a full, you know, 60-day, 90-day test on everything. I mean, I would only showcase maybe 4 products a year if I did that, but I'll test them long enough to know. All right, let's go to lashes. I curled my lashes. And now let's see, for mascara, where did it go? Oh, I pulled out, I do have a new drugstore mascara, but I'm not going to use that today. I pulled out this little Charlotte Tilbury sample, Exaggerize Volume Mascara. I mean, who doesn't want those kind of lashes, right? It says it's supposed to be bigger, better, and what does it say? 24-hour exaggerated fast volume plus curl effect. I did just curl my lashes. Oh well. I am going to apply the Tartelette Tubing Primer just because this is kind of what I've been doing, and I love how this just gives my lashes a little more volume instantly anyway. So I thought if we're going to try a new mascara, let's just kind of do my usual routine. And this also does help prevent with smudging and flaking, which is really good. So I have really been enjoying this. I don't feel like it doesn't completely help the mascara to come off in tubes, you know, like a typical tubing mascara does. It helps, but I still have to use a makeup remover, my coconut oil, which is what I usually use. Okay. On the lower lashes, I'm going to do my navy blue mascara, but on our upper lashes, look how cute this is. Okay, this wand, ooh, that's pretty. So it's a natural bristle, slight little curve. I like the look of that. I prefer a natural bristle type brush just because I feel like it doesn't poke my eyes like some of the plastic brushes do. And this one, wow, this has a lot of bristles, but it seems, so it's on the one hand, it's making the lashes look really defined. Not really seeing a lot of volume, but we'll, you know, do a couple coats like we normally do, and then we'll see what happens. So, but I feel like all in all, you know, birthdays, I was talking to my husband and I said, you know, I think I finally understand what people are thinking and saying, you know, when you say, well, I don't feel 49, I don't feel 60, I don't feel 70, I don't feel 80. And I said, I think I finally understand maybe a little deeper meaning to that. And it's because when I was, you know, a kid and even going to teenage years, I can't remember how old I was when my parents turned 50. But our joke in our household was that they were now officially an antique because we had it in our minds that an article of furniture, if it was 50 years old, I don't know if that's true or not anymore, but that is what made it an antique. So we would joke with my parents that they were officially an antique. And it just, you know, as a kid, as even a teenager, 50 just sounds so old. And now that I am a year out from being 50, I don't feel like I'm that old. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of an interesting thing. And honestly, I don't really, you know, maybe next year when I actually turn 50, it might affect me. But right now, I still just feel pretty much the same. I still feel like 50 is the new 40, as they say, right? Okay, that second coat started getting pretty serious there. I might need to comb through the lashes there a little bit, but let's do a little bit here. So first coat was kind of like, all right, that's decent. But now on the second coat, I have to say, wow, those look really nice. So really some nice volume and a lot of length there. Thankfully, my lashes have recovered. I know in a couple videos back, a couple Get Ready With Me's back, I was showing you I had some sparse kind of bald spots in my lashes. And thankfully, they have recovered. And I think part of that, you know, I was trying out a few different mascaras and primers and went back to using this Tarte primer and the the Superhero mascara. Those both have lash growth properties. I also just tried to be gentler on my lashes, not curling them quite as often. And I think all those things helped. Okay. All right. So I think, yeah, with 3 coats, it starts to get a little more clumpy, but wow, those are some pretty long lashes. All right, on the lower lashes, let's have some fun. This is from Prime Lash. I have shown one of their other tubing mascaras before, and I've really been enjoying this, especially on the lower lashes. But what I love is this comes in 4 shades. So navy blue, and then there's like a Merlot color, which I also love, and then brown and black. And this blue shade, it's just fun. So let me put this on, and it's just a dusty blue color. So it looks a little brighter coming out of the tube than I feel like ends up showing up on the eyes. But man, if you have brown eyes, oh, this mascara would look amazing on you especially. And I think it's a fun way to add just this hint of color without it being like screaming blue, you know? I don't know. I just love it. And I feel like when your outfit calls for it, you got to do it, right? So we don't have to go to the circus. We don't have to go to the festival to wear blue mascara. We can just have an average day at home and throw on some blue mascara. Why not, right? I think summertime is fun to just play around. Maybe your schedule is a little freer if you're kind of staying at home. I know some of you have said you're traveling, So traveling is probably not the time to be experimenting with colorful makeup, right? But, oh, I think that's really fun. Okay, let's wipe off my lip product here. So I still actually have quite a lot on there and the color has stayed. So even though it started off feeling really thin, I feel like it stayed pretty well. Okay, I'm gonna go around the edge of my lips with the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. And a tip for you, if you're somebody who does have a lot of lines around the edge of your lips, mine are more in the center part of your lip, of my lip, but around the edge, you can actually stretch your skin and press this in. And then when you let go of your lips, just take a brush and pat over the edge and then add a little powder, and it will actually serve as kind of like spackling. So I've had several of you share that tip with me. That's how you've used this on your super liney lips, I should say. And okay, just tap that in. I feel like I need just a little more powder through the center of my face, a little more blurring. What am I going to use? Let's use, I'm going to use just a little bit of the Makeup Forever Micro HD Finishing Powder, just right here in the center. And I'll use just a tiny little powder puff. I don't want it to start looking too dry, but yeah, I feel like that. The Nakia Joy powder is interesting because I don't feel like it's as long-lasting blurring as some others, but I don't know. It does seem to hold oils at bay, so who knows, right? What's happening here? Now, as far as blush goes, I'm kind of feeling like I'm pretty well covered. I have to say that Sochi blush really did stay. Here is the Tower 28 blush that I was thinking of adding. They sent me a couple products in PR, so grateful. I have another shade, the Island Tea, in this, but I thought this would be a fun one to add. This is Sawtell Slushy? Sawtell? I don't know, something. Let's just add a tiny bit. And this also is a nice kind of blurring blush. Blurring blush. Okay. Whew. Let's see. What is that color? That's really pretty color. Oh my goodness. I have really enjoyed this formula. What does it say? Blur Set Matte Powder Blush. Again, looking for the blur. Right. Okay. And let's see. That was not the right brush. Where is my brush here with my bronzer on it? That one didn't have anything on it. So let's just do that. Under the eyes, I've got major crackly creases right there. So yeah, I may add just a touch of my almond oil. Sometimes I do this at the end if I'm testing something new and it's just a little too dry. So let's just see if this ruins everything or not. Hopefully not. All right, I'm just gonna pat that in. I'm gonna let it sit. We'll go to the lips and we'll come back. Okay, for lips, I do have a couple of new products. Boy, I don't know where I was. Apparently I fell asleep for a minute and all of a sudden all of these like staining products have come out and are really a big thing. Dalton actually came out with their Peptide Plumping Satin Lip Stain. And I have 3 shades. I'm not sure how many shades they came out in. I was wearing, I think, this one in my last salon visit video, and it wore so well. I mean, I was in the salon for a lot of hours and it was still on. So I'm going to start off though first with a lip liner. This is new from Sephora. This is their colorful 8-hour transfer proof lip liner. So they've always had lip liners, but for me personally, they were not long wearing. And I had trouble with them bleeding. If I used them with anything creamy, with a gloss or anything, I would have bleeding. These stay put so well, and I think I might be needing a few more shades. This shade in particular is Rosewood Mood. There we go. I can read, I really can. All right, let's just see what happens. That's really pretty, isn't it? It really reminds me, the color, I have several others that are similar in color. Charlotte Tilbury, Maybelline. It's a kind of that universal mauve pink shade, which I love. And I am taking this on my lips a little bit. Okay. All right, let's test out, let's try this one. Let's just see. And with the stain, the tough thing is, you know, sometimes it starts off lighter and then it dries down a little darker or becomes a little brighter. So I'm hoping this one doesn't get too bright. Let's see, what is this color? Satin Rose. I think this will be good. That has quite a lot of color. And these feel so cooling on the lips. And they taste good too. Not that I'm saying you should eat it, but they do taste good. Ooh, that's pretty with that lip liner. And these they have gloss, but then as the shine kind of wears away, then the stain stays there. These are not a painful plumper, but, and you know, all Dalton products filled with great stuff. I really like that color. Okay, let's just wipe this away before it stains my hand. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go do my hair and I'll come back for the finished look with the other birthday girl. Okay, I'm here with the other birthday girl. Can you believe that she is 2 years old? I just watched the video of when I introduced her as this tiny little puppy and I thought, oh my goodness, where is that little girl? She's grown up now. But here is the finished makeup look with my hair done. And overall, there are a lot of wins. There are a couple of things like the Tower 28 concealer. I did have to go back and add a little bit, and then I added a little bit of the Dalton powder just right before I was filming my hair tutorial because I just was not liking how things were looking. So I am going to test this out with other powders. The Tarte Creaseless one might have just been too much for it. So I will continue testing that out. And the Sochi, I think the Sochi blushes, I think these are a huge smash win. Oh my goodness, I love those. The amount of color that stayed on the cheeks even after I powdered was really impressive. And that eyeshadow palette, it's been a while since I've tried Morphe shadows, and I think I'm gonna be trying a couple of their new ones as well. So I really enjoyed this. And my lip product, I have not touched up my lips, and it has been at least 45 minutes or so with all the filming of my hair and everything, and I have not touched up at all. A little bit of the shine is still there. The lips still feel very hydrated and moisturized, but yeah, the color is sticking around. So I think overall, hopefully you enjoyed this. So here is to number 49. I hope it's a good one. Don't you hope it's a good one? Yeah. So thank you as always so much for watching. Check the description box down below for links and a list of everything that I showed you today and talked about today. I'll also have a link to my top if I can find it, what's on my nails, the hair video that I was talking about, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.